I didn't plan to start a podcast. No niche, no strategy, no big vision. I just hit record and 150 episodes later, it's basically my whole brand. I didn't plan that. It just happened. When I started, I wasn't thinking about positioning or trying to build authority. I just wanted better conversations. That's it. It felt like a side thing, something that I was trying, not something that I was actively building. If you've told me back then, this is going to be your thing, I would be like, no chance. The early episodes were awkward. I redid intros, I overthought questions, and I even hated how my voice sounded. Views were low, nothing was really growing, it just felt small. And when something feels small, it's easy to convince yourself that things just don't matter. There was no signal telling me to keep going, so actually the only reason why I didn't stop was that I just continued. Nothing dramatic was happening. It wasn't failing, it just wasn't moving. And that's the uncomfortable part. Because when something feels like that isn't moving, it's easy to convince yourself that it's not worth continuing. Not publicly, just in your head. You start thinking maybe it was just something to try. It doesn't need to become anything big. And that's where most things quietly end. Not because they would collapse, but because they start feeling insignificant. Somewhere around episodes 30 and 40, something shifted. It wasn't numbers, it was me. I stopped worrying about how I looked, how I sounded, and I actually focused more on the conversation. I got better without really noticing. And then something subtle happened. People actually started introducing me as, "This is Thomas, he runs a podcast." I never really said that about myself. They did. And that's when I realized that you don't decide what you're known for. People do. After 150 conversations with more than 80 LinkedIn creators, you start seeing a pattern. The ones that actually grow, they're not the ones that are the most polished. They're the ones that treat content like the reps. They're basically practicing in public. And the second thing, the ones who lasted, they weren't chasing trends. They were clear on direction. After enough of conversations, you stop paying attention to surface level stuff. It's not about who sounds the smartest or about who looks the most confident. It's about how they think long term. The people who actually built something, they weren't focused on quick momentum. They were focused on direction. They treated content like training, not like performance. And the creators who struggled, they weren't less talented. They just expected signals too early. They wanted clarity before they built any proof. The ones who lasted were comfortable being early, comfortable being underestimated, and that mindset shows up again and again because they know what they want to be associated with, even if they're still figuring it out. And the biggest one, the confident creators that you see now, most of them, they were not confident at the start. They just kept showing up. Confidence didn't come first. It followed the reps. I was doing the same thing. I wasn't building a brand. I was just repeating. At some point, podcasting stopped feeling like a side experiment. It started shaping things. Who I spoke to, how people described me, what opportunities came my way. When people think about podcasting on LinkedIn, my name often comes up. Not because I forced things, because I kept showing up. That's it. Most people wait until they feel clear. Clear on their niche, clear on positioning, clear on what it's meant to be. But clarity usually shows up after you've been doing the thing for a while, not before. I didn't start with brand identity. It formed as I kept going. It didn't feel like I was building anything important. It just felt like I was having another conversation, another upload, another week. And because it felt ordinary, I haven't noticed that it was stacking. But eventually, people connect the dots, and that's when you realize you weren't just posting, you were positioning. I didn't plan to start a podcast. Now, it's my whole brand. And the only reason why it happened is that I kept pressing record even when it felt small. I thought that I was building a show. Turns out I was building reputation. If you're building something long-term and figuring out as you go, subscribe. That's what I talk about here. And if you're sitting on something that you want to start, don't wait until it feels big. Start. Keep going. Let it become something. That's what happened to me.